Are you gonna GBRS?
Oh, yeah, hold on. All right, ready?
Alright guys, 今日はですね、シュートインドアというね、いつも自分が着てるレンジに来ております。で、そしてこちらにいらっしゃるのがですね、ブランドン先生です。先生、ブランドン、Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate it.
Yeah, awesome. So today, what I want to do is talk about the different position of when you hold up the AR. There got to be a different position. For example, like when you're wearing plate carriers versus not wearing a kit, right? So I want you to talk about that. Before we start, let me introduce you, right? So can you talk about your career, how you started in gun industry, and you also went to the military service. So if you can just walk us through it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I never really was into guns until I entered the service. So I was a United States Marine, and I did 8.5 years over there.
Jeez, 8.5.
Yeah, quite a long time. Straight out of high school, I was just 18 years old. For the first 4.5 years, I was just a basic infantryman. And then my last 4 years, I was with a U.S. Embassy security group, and from there I did a lot of executive protection for U.S. ambassadors overseas. Different countries, saw the world once or twice, shook 1,000 hands, so it was nice. From there, I was my team's weapons and tactics officer for a good 3 years, and then from there I trained a lot of Marines, a lot of overseas personnel, what have you. And then from there, I just recently exited out of the Marine Corps, and now I'm the training manager here at Shoot Indoors in King of Prussia. And from there, I just teach everything dynamic and tactical shooting, from concealed carry to tactical shooting, from barricades, low light, whatever it is that you see on YouTube, I can.
Yeah, we do a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. All right, so yeah, since you're the expert in firearms, especially when it comes to AR platform, wearing a kit versus not wearing a kit, you were in a protection service, right? You also use the knots too, right?
Absolutely, 100%.
Right.
We did use night vision back then.
So in Japan, right, there are a lot of airsofters. In Japan, they can't have AR platform, right? Yep. So they can have a shotgun, and then you have to have a shotgun for 10 years before you can have a bolt action rifle. Yeah, it's pretty strict, right? And no handguns. And like I said, no AR platform, right? So a bunch of guys over in Japan, they love airsoft, right? They're pretty good at it, right? So a lot of guys do like CQB tactics, and they use like almost like a real. Like you can't really tell if it's not real or not. Like, so they're really into tactics and all that stuff. So I was wondering whether you can show us like a different position of AR, right? I brought my kit over there, right? So maybe we can start with it without a kit. How you normally would hold a rifle. And AR, typically speaking, doesn't have a whole lot of recoil. No. But the fundamental is the same, right?
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah. The fundamental is 100% the same. It's super interchangeable, whether you're doing PRS, which is precision rifle shooting, or if you're going to do close quarter battles for more so you airsofters out there.
Right.
They're all interchangeable.
Yeah. Okay. So why don't we first do the AR position without wearing a kit?
Okay. Yeah. Absolutely.
では今からですね、まず、キットを着ないで、私服の状態でですね、AR をどういう風にポジションするかっていうのをね、見ていきましょう。Alright, Brandon, so you're a lefty, right?
Yes, sir. I am a lefty.
I'm gonna come over to. Alright, so right now you are not wearing a kit, right?
Yes, sir. Yep.
What would be the basics here?
So the basics here is just honestly getting a good center of gravity, right? So nice, good fundamentals. So from here, right, I have a staggered, pretty much more so modified weaver stance. So from here, I have my lead foot forward, and I have my drop leg back right here, which is where my shoulder is going to be placed into this buttstock. Now from here, the biggest difference is that my hips are still oriented to target, right? You don't want to orient your hips away from the targets, because from there, right, especially if you're going to be shooting from in a more rapid fire place, you're going to start coming back with the gun itself. So from there, by orienting your hips towards the target, that's forcing your chest to be towards the target, and then now center line of fire is going to be right there at your desired area. And then my grip right here is a PRS style grip. So as opposed to me being on the right side of my thumb onto the receiver itself, I am rolling my left thumb over. So that way I can also defeat the selector switch immediately and then roll back if necessary.
Is that how you taught in Marine Corps?
So not necessarily, no. So this is something that I picked up in my new unit. We were more so CQB driven. So from there, it's about getting well-aimed shots. And we talked about interchangeability early on in the video, right? So what you're gonna do in PRS style, right, which is getting a more precise shot, is gonna correlate and be interchangeable with CQB stuff, right? Because what people tend to do is that when they have their full grip right here, they have that innate nature of twisting that lower receiver. So from there, you're taking out that factor and you're just using these three fingers, whether it's your left hand or your right hand acting as hooks into the pistol grip itself. So now you're getting rid of that factor of canting that gun in an unfavorable decision. Okay, so from right here, my chest is oriented towards the target. And then right now I have a cheek riser right here and I have an optic riser. So all I'm doing is I'm putting half the buttstock into my shoulder pocket and I'm just shrugging that gun into my line of sight. So right now I'm picking up my optic as effectively as possible, right? As opposed to doing the traditional, head forward, getting a good scope shadow, right? For a red dot and a 1 power magnification, you don't need all that, right? You just need to see that streak of red so that way you can get a quick target acquisition, quick target ID, and then deliver your round on target as effectively as possible. Okay, so we're gonna do a couple rounds. All right, so from here, what I like to do is I like to be at the low ready, and right now half that buttstock's already in my shoulder, as you see right here. So that way, as soon as I go ahead and I deliver rounds, all I have to do is literally shrug, and then I just roll my finger back. Okay, so again, right, we'll do that at a different position. Okay, this time we'll just do it right here at the low ready. Okay, now I have that single point of contact right here at the lower of my buttstock. Okay, so that way, as soon as I bring that gun up, it's already rolling into my shoulder pocket. And as you see right here, that difference between having a full point of contact and having that single point of contact, right there, I can still pick up my red dot immediately if I have to. So go ahead, we're gonna go at the low ready again. And as you see right there, right, effective shots on target, okay? Now, they are gonna be sporadic, but in the world of dynamic and tactical shooting, nothing's ever gonna be pretty. It's all about gaining real estate. Once you gain real estate, especially with someone that's wearing a kit, you're gonna have so much more driving and stopping power towards that objective. Especially if you're doing like a CQB asset, right? If you're doing peer-to-peer CQB fighting, you're gonna wanna gain real estate. You don't wanna get like that perfect little like dollar size like hole. You wanna gain real estate because you wanna throw them off balance, especially if they're wearing a plate carrier. You wanna be able to hit the areas where they're not protected.
はい、今ね、ブランドンさんがですね、ボルトタクティカルのプレートキャリア、自分のプレートキャリアですね、着てくれました。Alright, Brendan, so you are wearing a kit right now.
Yes, sir.
Right? Okay. Yep. And this is a little different than what you were wearing when you were in the service, correct?
Absolutely, 100%. So, I actually love this kit. This kit's phenomenal. It's very sleek. It's very minimal. It gets the job done. It offers security and also offers the ability to carry all your magazines, which I normally carried 6 magazines as well, and I had the 7th one on my tactical reload pouch right here, or speed reload pouch, whatever you want to call it, right? Yeah, the ones that I used in the service were much more bulky.
Okay.
It had a whole lot more material. I didn't have a lot of exposure for my shoulder pockets. It was more so covering up until like the end of my shoulder. Very bulky, a lot of material, a lot of soft armor. Didn't really like it as much. But nonetheless, it still got the job done. You still find a way to work around it, and that's exactly what we did. We adapted to the situation, and then from there, we gained compliance.
で、今からですね、ブランドさんにですね、ヒットをつけた時のこの AR のね、ポジションの仕方を教えていただきます。Alright, Brendan, so tell us how you will hold rifle when you are wearing a kit.
Yep, absolutely. So nothing really changes, right, in regards to shooting a rifle, especially when you're wearing a kit. So from there, right, all you're going to do is that you're going to find that meaty portion of your shoulder as you would without a kit. And once again, it's situation dependent on your gear itself. So really invest in your gear, okay? Don't go off and buy like all these name brand stuff. Everyone's just like, you have to buy X, Y, and Z, right? Because what works for them may not work for you, right? Like I wish I honestly got exposure to this flak, to this plate carrier early on, because this is honestly a really nice setup. I would really set up my stuff the same exact way. Right now, I just have a Slickster. I don't really have as much real estate on it as I would like, and it's also not load bearing, for to say to speak, right? This is actually load bearing. So nonetheless, right, before I get high wind about gear and stuff like that, which that's a conversation for another day. Okay, so I'm still putting that buttstock, right, that lower half into my shoulder pocket. Now, the only difference, right, is that I can either bring my head to the gun and I can roll it over in a traditional sense, or I can utilize my optic to the best of my abilities. So from there, what I can do is that I can just roll this gun and I can cant it. And then from there, I can now see my red dot. Now, the biggest thing in consideration that you have to take for this is your offset, right? So if I'm aiming at the center of the target and right now I'm rolling this gun over, my red dot's now over to the right. So from right now, okay, if I want to hit center mass, I have to aim at the right, because right now this optic is 0 for 50 yards. So my height over board deviation is going to be super, super far, right? Okay, and then the other way that you can do this is by sinking your buttstock essentially in the sternum portion of your flak. Now, I'm not talking inside the flak like this, because that's just unethical, right? Now you just look like a goober, okay? If you want to be a cool guy, right, act like a cool guy, look like a cool guy. So from there, what you're going to do is that you're going to put this buttstock, right, this point right here, into that center portion. So from there, you're still gaining contact, and all you have to do is just dip your head in, okay? Now, I mainly used this method when I was doing full auto, because this right here, center mass, backstop right there, is going to allow me to actually deliver rounds effectively as possible when I'm in a full auto sense. Okay, so what we're going to do is that we're going to do it in the few different positions that we just talked about. Okay, so low ready. Let's do it again. This time high ready. All I got to do is shrug. All right, now we're going to do sternum. Right, as you see from there, they both offer different advantages, okay? The other thing you have to take into consideration is fatigue. So if you're wearing kit all around, like I remember days where I was wearing kit for about 10 hours a day in like a blazing sun somewhere in Africa, right? Doing that traditional buttstock placement can get tiresome, especially if you have to make engagements, right? So from there at that point, right, you might as well just cheat the game. If you ain't cheating, you're not trying, all right? So from there, essentially what I'm doing is that I'm just putting that buttstock into that sternum plate, right? This plate carrier offers the ability as stability, especially when you're wearing this kit day in and day out. Unless you're on an observation post where you can just prop your rifle up on a ledge, hey man, kudos to you. But, you know, not everyone likes to be up in the crow's nest, so to speak, right? I like to get hands-on, so if I have to wear my kit 10 hours a day just so I can put someone in handcuffs, you know, I'm gonna go do it.
So when you're going around the CQB situation, right?
Yep.
You're holding the grip-wise, you're doing C-grip.
Absolutely,
right?
yep.
Right, and then it gets tiresome too, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's some people, like, when they get tired, right, they grip it near the magazine. Is that something that you would do?
No, me, not necessarily, okay? So the reason why I don't grip it towards the magazine is because you have to think of your gun as like a seesaw, right? Or like a pendulum. So even though you're tired, right, and you're grabbing that magazine, you're still gonna get fatigued and you're gonna be breathing heavily. So from there, right, what's gonna happen is that you are gonna go ahead and you're gonna do this right here. Now, I'm not breathing out too bad, but right now you can see the movement of my rifle itself, okay? So it's like a seesaw effect. By having that C-clamp forward, right, you are utilizing your ability of your arm to come back in a 90-degree angle to actually sink it into your body. By you having that into the magazine well, you're tucking your elbow in, and now you have no other direction to go except for up and down, right? Especially if you're running around. If you're running around, you're going into rooms, right, it's completely more unstable, right? Because now you have all this mass in the back, and you can easily move it. But from there, if you're doing CQB, right, you don't know what kind of environment you're in. Are you in a domestic environment, right? Are you in an industrial environment? And by domestic and industrial, I mean domestic being like drywall, right? Or cubicle farm, where it's literally just fabric and, right, just a super single sheet of plywood, right? If it's industrial and you've got, like, you know, concrete reinforced walls where bullets are not gonna go through, right? Then from there, you might have some play. But nonetheless, it's not an excuse. You should be accountable for all your rounds at all times.
So what kind of advice would you have for people who get easily tired doing the C-grip? Just practice until they're not tired?
Hit the gym, brother.
Yeah.
Hit the gym, man.
Practice.
Right? Because don't forget, right? Also, when you're shooting, it's not entirely all about physicality. It's all about mental, right? To be mentally prepared, to push through fatigue itself, to know your boundaries and push past it, that's what's going to set the precedence for your ability to actually go forth and accomplish your goal, right? Your mission set, okay? You could be the biggest, most brolic dude benching God knows how many numbers. But if your mind gives up on you, the game's already lost, right? You have to have a good mental psyche when you're going into these things, right? Like, you ever hear that thing, a fighter never goes in angry, right? A fighter goes in composed, right? So they can examine their situation. If you go in angry, right, you go in fatigued, right? From there, you're just gonna be throwing haymakers left and right. But if you actually gain composure and you understand what the mission set is, what the criteria of the mission is to accomplish, from there, you can go ahead and actually utilize your body as a well-oiled machine as its intended purpose, especially for CQB and you're doing force-on-force assets, right? From there, you have to think like the other person. You think you're tired? Hell, they might be tired, right? You think you're hungry? They're hungry too. But at the end of the day, it's gonna be human instinct, right? You wanna win, so do they. Just make sure you're better prepared. If you're not better prepared, then that's your own doing, right?
はい、今ね、こういう風にいろいろ教えていただきましたけども、まあ AR はね、リコイルがある程度、ある程度って言っておかしいですけども、比較的簡単な方なんで、マネージするのが簡単な方なんでね、まあいろんなポジションができるわけですよ。で、先ほどね、ブランダーさんが言ってましたけども、フルオートやったらもう完全にね、ここに入れて、しっかりホールドするんですけども、まあフルオートでなければね、セミオートやったらもうちょん付けでもね、全然打てる感じなんですけども。All right, so Brandon, thank you so much for going through, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was
Appreciate
awesome.
It. Thank you.
Right, this is the live. What is it? The real experience, right? The voice of real experience. So that was really awesome.
Appreciate
right?
it.
So in summary, right? Like you said, the full auto, you really have to hold it tight.
Absolutely, 100%. It's gaining that good forward angle of movement, right? So a lot of people tend to just come up, right? It's a science. It's really a science and an art.
Right.
So from there, right, instead of just standing upright, what you want to do is that you want to take your non-dominant foot and you want to lean forward and really have your chest over your knees and sink that gun into your body.
Yeah, 100%. Right. But under a semi-auto, right, especially going into a room, like sometimes you don't even have to have a rifle like up, right? So there's if there's a threat right in front of you, you might not have time to just bring up your rifle all the way up. Like maybe you have to shoot it over here.
Absolutely, you can walk it on 100%, right?
Right.
I mean, we do it with pistol all the time. So with pistol, right, if you're shooting from attention and you have to shoot from down here, who's to say that you can't shoot your rifle from down here as well, right? Situation dependent, right? Just make good calls, okay?
Yeah, for me, what was eye-opening was utilizing the plate carrier. On top of the plate carrier, just hold a rifle, right? Because at that point, like, you still have a good, like, 2-point contact.
Yep.
Your boss stuck right here, even though you're not holding it, but, like, you're with your left hand, you're holding it against your buddy. But you have another support, which is a plate carrier. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. ということでですね、はい、ブランドン先生にね、いろいろ教えていただきましたけども、ありがとうございました。はい、ということでね、今週はこのようなね、AR をどういうふうにホールドするかね、皆さんエアガンでもね、練習してらっしゃると思いますけども、まあ基本的にね、エアガンの練習でこういうふうな実銃の練習することも可能なんで、またね、これを参考にしていただいて、練習をね、どんどんしていただきたいなと思います。今週もありがとうございました。Thank you so much, Brandon.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.